Hi everybody, it is Catherine here from Continue the Magic, and this is your news update for the week of July 20th. So this week we have some changes coming to rope dropping, we have some price increases, and we have an opening date for a new attraction. So let's get started. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. It really helps me out at the channel and to make sure that you never miss a video. So with that said, let's get started, and we're going to first talk about the changes coming to rope dropping, and this is specifically at the Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World. So if you've done this in the past, what would happen is you would kind of go through the first entry gates, and then in that initial oasis area right on the other side of the turnstiles is where they would hold you. So this is before you're kind of going through the walkways towards the Tree of Life in that initial space. And it was pretty crowded, you can't really see a whole lot. So the change that's happening here is rather than holding you in that oasis area, they're going to let you further into the park over into Discovery Island. So this is going to allow you to kind of go through those walkways in the oasis and then head across the bridge towards that beautiful Tree of Life view. So this is great for a number of reasons. A, it lets you have more space for those people. It was pretty crowded right at that front entrance, so it makes sense that they would move this out. The other thing is they could potentially allow you to do some shopping if they wanted to have potentially some extra money in the morning. They also allow you to get your photo with the Tree of Life. So this is both if you want to take your photos, but also good news for Disney if they want to sell photo passes, is that they can have photo pass photographers there before the park opens, and people can start taking advantage of that right away. This also then helps divide up the people waiting to rope drop or do that early entry into 3 different locations. So the first area is over by the Island Mercantile or by the Flamingos, and this is going to be your waiting area if you're looking to go either to Avatar or to Africa. So this is definitely going to be your most popular and your most crowded waiting area, because typically if you're rope dropping, a lot of people are going for that Flight of Passage rope drop. So this is going to be the busiest by far. The next one is going to be over by the Zootopia Better Zootgether entrance. So obviously this gets you to Zootopia, but it also is entry to Asia. So if you're going to Asia or Expedition Everest, that's probably your best bet. And the last one is by the Dinoland Bridge. So obviously not a lot happening over there at the moment. So really this is just an alternate route to get to Expedition Everest if you want to try going around that way to maybe beat some of the crowds if it's more crowded and more people waiting over by Zootopia, potentially an option to you. This will obviously become a lot more popular when the Tropical Americas section opens, and then they can kind of distribute those people waiting for their early entry and their rope dropping at these 3 locations. So I think this is a good change. It spreads things out a bit more, and I think it'll give a lot more breathing room and a lot more enjoyment for the people who want to be in the park and waiting to get in. Now let's pop over to Disneyland, and we're going to talk about some of the price increases that just happened. So this is actually price increasing on food and drinks around the parks. And this isn't just kind of 1 or 2, they've done kind of a blanket, larger scale rollout of price increases to food and beverages. So if you're looking at like snacks and drinks, popcorn and that type of thing, you're looking at probably between 50 to 75 cents increases for those. That typically is true of popcorn, drinks, some of the smaller like ice cream, snacks, that type of thing. When you're looking at quick service meals, we're talking closer to $1 to $2 per meal is those price increases. And actually one of the worst ones is bottled water. Depending on the location you go to, bottled water has gone up by as much as 33%. So if you are going to the parks, I recommend on either bringing a water bottle with you, or at the quick service restaurants you can get free cups of water. So probably a better option, because that bottled water price is pretty steep in the parks. So we knew this is not unusual. Obviously they do price hikes every year. This probably means that the ticket price changes are coming in the not too distant future. So if you are looking at tickets, you might want to see about purchasing those before a next price increase goes through. Now we're going to hop back over to Walt Disney World, and if you look in My Disney Experience at the map for the Magic Kingdom, there has been a big change, which is the boardwalk in Frontierland that was around the Rivers of America is now missing from that map. So it looks like we're going to be losing that, which is unfortunate. I love that walkway, both that it's tends to be less crowded than the main walkway, but also I just love walking by the water. It's a beautiful view, and especially the view of the Haunted Mansion as you're walking around there. So that is unfortunate. That looks like it's coming. Whether it will come back in some fashion when they build the new area, I'm not sure, but that one's sad to see it go. Speaking of the Magic Kingdom, we do have that extra ferry boat that is under construction to get you from the Transportation and Ticket Center to the Magic Kingdom. Here's some construction pictures. This is from BioReconstruct, of course, but it looks like they're making really good progress on that. The top section is starting to go on now, so we're nearing completion on that new ferry boat, and hopefully we will see that in 2027. And the last piece of news is that we finally have an opening date for the remainder of the animation courtyard changes that are happening over at Hollywood Studios, and that opening date is September 14th. So this is the rest of that opening, so where we kind of had the Star Wars launch bay and the really old animation tour, that is going to be taken over by this new version of the animation studio, which is going to have a few different things within it. So the first thing we have is Olaf Draws. So this is going to give you the opportunity to sketch along with a Disney artist. The Disney artist is going to be pre-recorded that you'll be following along with, and you're going to be sitting at animation desks, and it's going to be set up with that kind of feel and vibe of the animation studio, and you're going to be able to follow along with the animator, but there is also going to be an Olaf animatronic there, which is great. It is the voices being recorded by Josh Gad, of course. So Olaf is not the one actually doing the sketching, guiding you through, but he's going to be engaging, hyping you up, and there in the room with you. Next, we're talking about the Drawn to Wonderland playground. And the nice thing about this is going to be an indoor air-conditioned playground for the kids, which is a great option to have, especially in the Florida summer heat. So there's a few different sections here. You're going to have the Mad Tea Party area. You're going to have the Mad Hatter's house that they can play in. There's going to be kind of an interactive singing garden. And then you're going to get the forest with the Cheshire Cat theming. So this is going to be done in a beautiful Mary Blair style. I think this is going to be great, and having an indoor play area I think is a fantastic choice for Hollywood Studios. Next, you're going to have your character meet and greet. So there are 6 different areas that you can go and do meet and greets. We were expecting it to be more characters from the movies, but we're getting more of the Disney classic characters here than I was originally expecting. So the first meet and greet area is going to be the story department, and here you can meet Mulan. And I think this is a great choice because Mulan, a lot of it was animated at the Florida studio, so I love that they're keeping that reference and that tie-in into that space. Then if you go over to the layout department, here you're going to be able to meet Rapunzel. And this is kind of the last of those like princess level characters, and then we're going back to our classic Disney characters. So then you have your hand-drawn department, and here you're going to be able to meet Chip and Dale. Then you're going to have your computer department, so your CG animation, and here you're going to be able to meet Donald and Daisy. You're going to have the sound department, and this is going to be Goofy. And then effects, they're going to have Stitch. So some great meet and greets here. Now the question is, because they're doing meet and greets in the building now, are we going to see less of those kind of free roaming characters that have been happening in the courtyard right now? Ideally not. Ideally they would just switch up who is in the animation courtyard doing those kind of free walk around meet and greets. But if I'm being honest, I have a feeling that you'll see those walk around characters go away once these meet and greets open up. And the last section is going to be the Once Upon a Studio Theater, and just outside of that you're going to have the animation art gallery. So in the kind of waiting room for the studio, you're going to see Disney sketches up on the wall, and those sketches are going to kind of come to life in front of your eyes. So that's great for that waiting area to keep you kind of engaged while you wait for the theater open. And then in the theater, they are going to be showing the short Once Upon a Studio. Now, whether they always do this, my guess is eventually they'll kind of rotate that theater through like they typically do over at the Walt Disney Story, that they will rotate, you know, trailers for new movies, things that they want to promote. But for now, it is going to be that classic Once Upon a Studio short. So it's nice to see that that's getting some representation in the parks. So again, this is opening up on September 14th. Again, keep an eye out. Typically, they will do the cast member previews and then your, you know, annual pass holder and DVC previews, and then even the couple days before, usually in the evenings, they'll start letting the general public in early. So if you really want to see that, you want to be there first, keep an eye on those dates to see when those previews are happening. So some good, some bad changes coming to the parks, mostly good, but price increases, we know these come every year. Not a big surprise here, but it's still something we have to adjust for when you're planning for that big Disney trip. So that is all of the news updates for this week. Again, thank you for joining me. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and I will see you next time.